Bună ziua tuturor! Cred că este momentul să începem webinarul nostru de astăzi. De fapt, cred că primul webinar din această suită, primul webinar utilizat în acest canal. Pentru cine nu mă cunoaște, mă numesc Laurențiu Măducanu, sunt președintele Asociației KNX ROMANIA. Astăzi aici să vă fac o 2-3 minute scurtă introducere și apoi ne vom să activități de la ComfortClick să prezinte echipamentele, să prezinte tipurile de configurări, de fapt să prezinte serviciile pentru care ne-am întâlnit astăzi aici. De prezentare se va, înainte de toate, să salut și pe colegii noștri. Hello, David. Hello, Flavio.
Hello.
Hello.
Is the audio? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Excellent.
I will make a short presentation of you for my attendance
Yes,
in
of course.
Romanian language, and then I will offer the word to start the presentations.
Okay, yeah. So do we just get started? And I think we also have Flavio in the chat. If anyone is going to have any questions during, he'll probably answer majority of the questions during the presentation if we have. And of course, if there are any additional questions, we can also address those probably at the end. I would say is the best to take kind of 5 minutes, 10 minutes to maybe answer some of the questions. Okay, yeah, so I guess, yeah.
I want to make a completion about the language, about the perfect transmission. Dacă aveți vreo întrebare și nu aveți la îndemână limba engleză, să puteți să adresați partenerilor de la ComfortClick, ori când scrieți limba română, ori să ne adresați într-un moment de pauză, pur și simplu limba română și vom interveni. Nu sunt răspunsul corect. Sau bine înțeles? Subiectul zilei de astăzi este produsele performante și ComfortClick. Este prima colaborare dintre Asociația KNX ROMANIA și ComfortClick. Noi am fost flexibile, am fost deschiși la asemenea colaborare și astăzi aici cu un webinar în care încercăm să oferim cât mai multe informații tehnice și cât mai mult ajutor pieței de KNX din România. Atunci, dacă am scris să cam așa, dacă îți stabili parametrii de lucru, propun să începem să ne întâlnim pe David Boban și el va începe prezentarea soluției ComfortClick. David, please.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for taking your time, and listening to the introductional training into BOS. The idea for today is to give you kind of a overview of the whole ComfortClick ecosystem. I will show you how to work with the applications, how you can get started with the applications. I'm going to be giving you an overview of the main configurator tool. We are going to be adding some different devices. We're going to be creating some automation, some logic, and then also at the end, I'll show you how fast and easy it is to create a very, very, unique and different visualization for the client as well. So I am going to start presenting my screen. So just let me know if you can see the screen okay. I am working with one screen here, so for some chat window, ask Flavio, he can just text me saying for some questions, but I think that the screen should be working. You should be able to see the screen. Okay.
Yes,
so
it's okay. We see the screen.
Okay, excellent. So all the applications that I have installed today and all the applications that are required for you to start with ComfortClick, they are all available on our website, and they are all available completely for free. So all you have to do is just, create a free account, simple, just email and so on. And then I would say the easiest way to get started is by just going to our website and press this free trial button. So this free trial button, as you can see here, there is a short how to start video. This just 5-minute video explaining you how to install, how to download, how to do just the basics to get you started. So very, very important short 5-minute video. I would highly recommend watching this just because it covers the basics. Below this video is the list of the applications that we offer. So the first application that we can check is going to be our BOS server application. So this application is available on all Windows platforms, and this application comes pre-installed if you purchase, let's say, one of our hardwares. Basically all this, if I can open it up on my machine. All this application basically does, it runs in the background of your machine, and all it does, it reserves 2 of your local host ports, which will then allow your phone or your tablet or any other device to connect to your machine and then, view the configuration or the visualization that you build. So for the majority of the time, you can just install it, run it, you can close it, and you can basically almost kind of forget about it. The next, probably the main application that we are going to spend the most time in is going to be our BOS configurator. So this is going to be the main tool for us to, add our KNX, Modbus, all the devices. This is the application.
David, you're mute.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now? I just saw a notification pop up there and I was muted for some reason. No, but now it seems it's okay. Okay. So I'm not sure. Okay, hopefully didn't miss too much. The BOS configurator is going to be the main tool where we, add our devices. This is the tool where we create the automation, and this is also the application where we create our visualization as well. So this is kind of the main tool for us. And the last but not least are, of course, our client applications. So these are usually reserved for the end user. They can be installed on any platform. So it can be installed on Windows, Android, iOS, and will also work on any web browser as well. So this is basically how the client or the end user will then interact with the building. So they can install the client on their phone or their tablet. They would use, of course, the server information. They would log into the building and then control all the devices. Okay, so I do have, of course, all the applications pre-installed on my PC, and I'm going to open up the BOS configurator. So as I mentioned, this is going to be the main tool for us today. This is where we are going to be creating our, project. So as you can see, I have a lot of different servers here in the main screen, and the idea is that BOS will allow you to connect to multiple different servers to do any maintenance. So if you are a system integrator and if you have a project, you would add it here to your list, and at any time if someone has some issues or maintenance or some additional things that needs to be done, you can select the server here from the list and then connect and do any maintenance. The way you can add a new server to the list is fairly simple. You just go here to the top right and select add. And there are 3 ways for you to add a server to the list. The first is by using the access ID. So this access ID is actually unique for each individual server. So let's say if you purchase one Jigsaw server or a Grinder or any other server, the access ID is usually the serial number of the device. And basically all this access ID does, it checks where you're connecting from and then connect to the correct IP address. So if you're connecting locally, it will then connect to the local IP address. But if you're connecting externally, let's say if you're on your phone, 5G or any other network, it will then connect to the external IP address. Of course, one thing, if you are using remote connection, there is a specific port that needs to be forwarded in order to make the remote connection possible. The second way of connecting is by using the manual configuration. This is basically just direct IP. You can either type in the local IP or the external IP. Also, any DNS services, if you might have, they are also supported. If you are connecting locally and maybe don't know the IP address, you can also use this find button. This will basically scan your local network. As you can see, currently I'm at home, so I only have my PC. So I can select my PC here and it'll fill out my IP address. So if you're connected in an office building and you have 10 different servers, you can then choose whichever server you want to connect to. The third way of connecting to the server is by using our gateway service. So gateway is a service that we launched, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. And gateway is just basically for remote connection. If you want to connect remotely to your server, instead of opening a public IP, setting up the port forwarding, you can activate this gateway service, and then all the remote traffic is redirected to our servers, and then allows you to have a remote and encrypted connection. So this was a feature that was requested highly by our clients because some clients have issues with port forwarding. Some internet service provider have issues with some public IPs and so on. So this gateway is a perfect solution for someone that wants to have, secure remote connection without the port forwarding. For today's presentation, what I am going to do is I'm just going to select my PC here. As you can see, it's my local machine here, and I'm going to select my BOS configurator and then connect to my configuration. And this is basically the first screen. This is the first thing that you see when you connect to your project with the configurator application. If I open up the client application, you can see that servers are exactly the same. The connection is exactly the same as we did with the configurator. Everything is the same. The only difference is that if I select my PC here with the client, I'm going to see the front end. So I am seeing the visualization part of my project. So, and this is the screen that the clients are probably going to spend the majority of their time. So the way the visualization was created is to be as simple and as user-friendly as possible. So as you can see, we have, rooms at the bottom, and we have a navigation system here. And this is usually the first screen that you see. We have some shortcuts, some weather information, some stats on the building. I can go to, let's say, floor plan view. And the way the client will interact with the house is extremely intuitive, super easy to use. So they could very easily go, turn the light off, turn the shades down here, turn this lamp on. If I want to navigate to this room, I can use the shortcut, have a different kind of view of the visualization. So turn the lights off here. So as you can see, the user interaction is extremely easy to use, extremely friendly. Everything is here. So if I have some alarm, I can control it. Some HVAC, of course, everything is here. Cinema control, shades. If I have IP cameras in the building, I can quickly look to the camera view. We just have some random, basically, camera images here, but you can see the idea is here. Consumption values for the building. You can create kind of a SCADA visualization like this, irrigation system, pool, weather, and all of this information is available. And all of this that I showed you now, everything is created using the configurator application. And the idea for today is to give you kind of an overview. I will show you how easy it is to create a visualization like this. So every configuration has the same, I would say, main 4 nodes. As you can see, the configuration itself is built in a configuration tree, which means that we have main nodes here, and then we have sub nodes containing additional information, additional status. So Every configuration has a main building node, and main building node contains the basic information about the server. So if I go here under licenses and I open up my license information, you can see all the basic stats for my current, let's say my current PC. So how many users, what's my ID, my access ID is listed here. So very important here to see the access ID, machine ID here, server version, IPs. So all the basic information is available here. Next, and very important function here is, of course, our updates. So we do try to update software frequently, provide fast solutions, bug fixes, improvements. And important note here is that all current and future updates are available completely for free. So down the line, if we implement a new feature, a new device, a new protocol, it is going to be available completely for free to our clients. If I want here, I can also change, of course, my network settings, change the IPs, wireless, and shut down and reboot my machine as well. So all of this is available in the main building node. The building node, I would say, contains 4 major subnodes. So we have general. General will contain additional, features, additional settings for my building. Devices is, of course, the list of all the devices that are in the building. Tasks is where we create the logic. So this is where we create the automation and so on. And then we have themes where we create our visualization. So this is going to be the tool I'll show you later at the end where we create the visualization part for the building. We also have areas here, but areas are reserved for the hotels and larger buildings. It is just more or less kind of a duplication process, so you don't have to manually copy everything. So, but I don't want to go too deep here for the areas. Okay, so under general, the first very important note that we have is going to be our users. So I would say the easiest way to explain how users in ComfortClick work is to give you just a simple example. So let's say we have an apartment building, and in this apartment has, let's say parents, and then we have children living in the apartment building. And let's say the parents, I can open up the client. Let's say the parents don't want the children to have access to the alarm or to the heating or the cameras. In that case, you would create another user, call it children, and you can actually limit or hide or lock specific panels for selected user. So the parents can have full access, they see the cameras, the heating and everything, and then the children can have only limited access. And this users are especially crucial when it comes to a commercial building, let's say a hotel or a hospital or whatever, because if you have a hotel project, of course, you don't want each user that logs into the hotel to have full access to the cameras and lobby and everything. That's why you would then create separate users for each individual room. When the user logs in, they will only see the visualization, and they can only control the devices that are in their actual rooms. So users are extremely, extremely crucial when it comes to building management, basically. If I open up the client application, we can see that every buttons, UI, everything is currently in English. But if maybe I don't speak English, you can very, very easily go here to the top right, select settings, and then change the language to any of the supported languages. So for instance, I think we have some German translations. You would select German language, and then as you can see, all the words, everything, the visualization, all the buttons, everything is now in German. And you can then switch to whichever language you have translations for, and very easily and quickly swap out and change the languages. The whole translations are done here under the translations tab. So this is where you can, add, remove, do the tweaking of the translations of the building. Another, I would say, one of the most important facts about BOS and ComfortClick is that everything is 100% customizable. So you see the background, images, colors, texts, icons, logos, everything is 100% customizable. And if you go to, let's say here under files, and if you select images, you can see that BOS comes with, I think it's around 300 or 400 images that we have here that you can choose. So these are the images that you can choose to, customize your visualization. But BOS will also allow you to use, custom images. So you can use custom logos, custom backgrounds, coloring, and so on. The way it works is, again, extremely easy. You just go here to images, right click, select add. You would go to image file. You would find your image that is maybe on your desktop or somewhere, and you can open it up. And this image is now imported into BOS. And I will show you at the end, how you can customize and how you can, change and swap out icons. A lot of our clients are playing around with the visualizations. They use, actual photos like this. You can have, if you have a, a project with some architect and maybe they have like floor plans like this, they can provide you with the image, and then you can actually customize your visualization to look, you can actually place, the devices exactly where they are in the building. BOS also comes with its own weather API. So if I go here under web and weather, this is the API that we have. It's an open weather map API. And if I go here under weather, this is all the information that our weather provides. So we have some basic weather information, some temperature, weather forecast, wind speeds, visibility, humidity, and so on. So this is all built in with the software. And the way it works, again, extremely easy. You go to the configurator, weather. Here under the location, you can type in either your country or your city, or the more accurate you want it, the more accurate you need to put in the location. I usually go someplace warmer. Let's go someplace in Greece. You type in the city, you click OK. It takes around 2 seconds to refresh. And now if I open up the client application, we can see a completely different image, so a completely different weather status. And a great thing about the weather API is that you can actually use all of this information in your project. So you could use temperature to maybe control heating or control the AC. You could use snow information to trigger specific devices. You can use, let's say, wind speeds to control the slats. Of course, it's not going to be as accurate as, let's say, a weather station, but for a majority of the case, it works good enough, to control and trigger specific devices. Voice control is also supported. So Alexa, Google Smart Home, Siri, HomeKit, all of these devices are supported by BOS. I'm not going to go too deep here. We do have a dedicated tutorial videos on each of these protocols. So if you want a little bit more, I can at the end, I can also show you where you can locate these videos as well. So don't want to waste too much time here with the voice control. Okay, so that'll be the general subnode. The next subnode that we're going to take a look at is going to be our devices. So right click, selecting, of course, our devices. We see the list of all devices that are currently supported by BOS. So, of course, we don't support, let's say, just KNX, right? We support, I would say, majority of the main devices or protocols that are currently being used in the home automation. So we have, of course, KNX, Z-Wave, BACnet, Modbus. We have a couple of different alarm systems, DSC, Paradox, and Satellite alarm. IP cameras, speakers, we have Sonos and Denon. So all of these devices are supported by BOS. And in the majority of the cases, you would need to have a separate application for all of these devices, right? You need to have one application for Z-Wave and then another one for Modbus, maybe for a TV, for KNX, BACnet, right? But here in BOS, you can actually use our tasks and have a seamless communication between all of these devices. So you could have Z-wave motion sensor to maybe control KNX light, or you could have temperature reader on bucknet to control maybe some AC that is on Modbus. So you can actually mix and match and control all of these devices just by using our tasks in the configurator. To keep it simple for today, majority of us here are working with KNX. So I am just going to select KNX and I'm going to add it to the list of my devices. So for the KNX, we support, of course, all the connection types. So KNX, IP, USB, serial. If you have a Jigsaw server, it comes with the KNX gateway. So you would select Jigsaw here as a connection type, but all connection types for KNX are supported. And we have been in the home automation business for, I think it's more than 15, years now. And we do know how easy it is for an ETS project to get, big, complicated, hundreds of group addresses and so on. So that's why we created the ETS import wizard. So once you are done with your ETS project, the devices are programmed, group addresses are set, everything is working. You can then export your ETS project and you can import it into BOS. The whole process is extremely easy to do, especially if you do it once or twice. Okay, let me just add another one in. Especially if you do it once or twice, the whole process is extremely easy. You just go here to ETS import, you open this function up, you would find your ETS project, preferably it's a KNX project file, and you can open it up. And you can see the list of all the group addresses that are in my ETS project. So as you can see, majority of them are white, but some of them are also colored red. So if they are colored red, this just means that they were undefined in ETS. If a group address is undefined in ETS, it will also be undefined in BOS. So if we still want to use this group address, all we have to do is we need to set the correct type. So here you can see we have path, which contains, let's say, the name. We can see that we have on and off. This is usually a Boolean value. So if we have lights on and off, right click and select Boolean value. Extremely fast, extremely easy to do. Dimmable lights, I can actually click and drag my mouse button to multiple select. So dimmable lights, right click, it's usually an unsigned value. So 8-bit one side, shades goes the same. I'm not going to go through all of these. We don't need all of them. Just do heating is usually a float. And another thing we need to check here is that if we want to receive a live feedback in the client, we will also need to link our statuses together. So let's say if I go to a bedroom, and if someone is physically in the room and they turn this lamp on, if I want to receive live feedback here, what I have to do is I need to link these two addresses together. To do this, again, extremely easy to do. I can just select my status addresses. We can see we have here, these are for on and off, and these are for status. As you can see, it is also in the name. I can select these, right click, I can copy the addresses, I can go to my on and off, and I can paste it to status address. BOS is going to link these two group addresses together. And now if someone is physically in the room and turns the lamp off, I will see a live feedback in the client application. This is crucial because, if you're not in the building and you can see this lamp is on and I want to turn it off, you're basically, you don't know that the actual lamp has been turned off already. So I'm not going to go through all of these here. You get, how it works. Once you do this once or twice, I would say the whole process is extremely fast and easy to do. So once you are done with these linking and importing the group addresses, you click next. And you can see that BOS has imported 62 devices, or let's say group addresses. So in the next step, we are going to tell BOS what these devices are. So in the first step, we just import the group addresses, but now we're going to tell BOS, this is a set point, this is a temperature, this is dimmable light, these are on and off lights. Again, super easy process. And by doing this, BOS already creates the basic visualization for you. So if I go to the set point, let's say, as you can see, KNX set point, right click, template, and I can select temperature set point. And BOS is automatically gonna change the icon, it's gonna automatically change the unit, and it's also gonna automatically gonna set for us how this set point interacts with us, right? BOS is automatically gonna set it to set point. Same goes for, let's say, lights on and off. Let's go lights on and off. Here you can see everything is default. BOS doesn't know. Right click, template, and set this to lamp. And automatically unit changes, colors changes, everything changes automatically. If I want, I can select, let's say, 3 buttons, template, and maybe change the image. So we could go lamps and maybe the chandelier, and we can already start creating basic visualization with the importation already. So go to shades, position. I'm gonna just do the shades, and that's it basically. I'm not gonna go through all of them. We don't need the rest, but you get the basic idea how the importation process works. And once you are done, you can click close, and you will see that BOS is going to put your group addresses into folders and then subfolders exactly the same way as you had them in ETS. So if your ETS project was done, well, transparent, everything is labeled, it's going to be that much easier for you in BOS. And if I was connected to KNX bus, I could go to kitchen, select value, and turn the kitchen lamp on. That's one way you can already test if the KNX connection is working. And if I was there on a KNX connection, the lamp would already be turning on. Very similar process is for other devices. Let's say if you have a Modbus device, for instance, you would go to Modbus here, add it in. When it comes to Modbus, having a manual of the device is crucial. So here, the manual is going to contain all the connection settings, all the address settings, and so on. So if I go, let's say if I have an AC unit, the connection type is serial connection, so I will switch the connection type. The manual will contain what is the baud rate, parity, data bits, and so on. The manual will also contain what is the slave address, and then the manual will also contain what addresses I can use to control my Modbus device. Again, very, very easy. You would just select it here. The manual is going to tell you, oh, this is 500 is the address, and we are using the input register, and you can already, control or get the value from the device. So the whole process is, extremely, extremely fast and easy to do. Okay, so let's say we have our KNX in the system. The next thing we can now start do is to create some automation. So to do this, we go, of course, to our tasks, right click and select our task. So I would say BOS covers majority of the tasks that are required for a home automation. We have, of course, some data logs, we have some simple tasks, we have some scenes, schedule, some thermostats, timers, and so on. But we also have some more complex tasks. We have some bit conversion, some calculation that might be required, some program tasks if we want to do some advanced logic as well. So all of this will allow us to automate our building. To keep it simple for today, I am just going to create, let's call this one lights on. I'm going to create a couple of scenes, lights on, lights off, and let's also add our movement detector and our thermostat, just so I can show you how easy it is to have a communication between two completely different types of devices. So we have our lights scene. So what is a scene? Scene is, of course, controlling multiple devices with, a single click of a button. And the way majority of our tasks are created is extremely, extremely easy. So I would go to my scene. I can now go to my KNX, lights on and off. And what I can do is I can select whichever device I want in the scene, select it, and drag and drop it into the scene and click OK. And it is basically as simple as this. So living room middle, kitchen, countertop, And of course, I'm not limited to KNX here. I could go to my Modbus, for instance. I have an AC unit here, AC unit, drag and drop it in as well. So, and majority of our tasks are created like this, drag and dropping in, simple but very, very powerful logic. Of course, this is a lights on scene, which means that we need to change all of these values to true, right? We want to turn on all of these lights. Extremely easy. Select all of these devices, right click and set value to true and press OK. And now when the scene is going to be triggered, all these devices are going to turn on. To create an opposite scene is going to be even easier because now I can copy all of my addresses. I can copy them. I can go to my lights off scene and I can paste them in. The only thing we need to change is, of course, since this is a off scene, I need to set all the values that are now true. I need to set them back to false. And now, as you can see, in a matter of 20 seconds, 30 seconds, we have two fully functional, very, very powerful scenes that can be used in the client application. Each of our tasks, I would say majority of our tasks have a different ways of triggering them. So if we're talking about scenes, you can always go to the client and you can manually run it, right? You would run the scene, you would run this scene, as you can see, and the lights are now automatically, switching on or off depending on what the scene wants, right? All off, dinner, fiesta, all of these scenes. This scene is automatically triggering these devices. But we can also add some simple automation. So here you can see we have a trigger. Trigger just means that now we can tell BOS when to start the scene automatically. So if I go and press a add for trigger, you can see that every node in the configuration can be used as a trigger. So this could be a device, this could be movement, this could be weather, this could also be time, for instance. So I can go to general and time. We can say time of day. And let's say every day at 6 o'clock, or let's say since off scene, let's say every day at 9 o'clock at night, 00, every day at 9 o'clock, run this scene, and then all of these devices are turning off. So again, very, very simple, but very, very powerful task, just one of many tasks that we can use to automate our building. Earlier, I mentioned seamless communication between devices. So movement detector, I would say, is a perfect example. So movement detector, what it does, here we have our input value. This is going to be basically our movement sensor. And then the output value is the device that we want to control. So here under input, we could go, I think we have a movement sensor on Z-Wave. So go Z-Wave, and then we have entrance movement sensor that is on Z-Wave. And then the output value could be, let's say, our KNX. So KNX, lights on and off, outside, for instance. And now we can see we have a seamless communication between Z-Wave and KNX, right? Movement sensor detects movement and then turns KNX lamp on. Extremely fast, extremely easy to do. Similarly, we can do it with a thermostat. So thermostat is going to work similarly. So we have our input value. This is going to be our temperature reader. So let's say we have heating temperature on living room, and that's on KNX. And then let's also say we have a AC unit that is on Modbus. The output value, we go here, Daikin Modbus, and then turn this on. And then according to our set points, so for cooling, for heating, our hysteresis values, according to all of these settings, BOS is automatically gonna turn the AC unit on or off depending on the temperature that we have from KNX. And then we have another example of KNX to Modbus, a seamless communication. Okay, so we have KNX, we have some tasks. The last thing we can now start to create our visualization. To do this, we of course go to themes, we go to our demo project, and I am just going to create a brand new panel for us. Let's call this one living room. We type it in, and we have, as you can see, a blank panel for us to use. The way the visualization is created, again, extremely, extremely easy. You just go to KNX, we can go to our lights on and off, select it, and drag it into the visualization. and press OK. Living room middle, drag and drop. And now if I go to my client application, we can see that the living room has been added and our buttons are ready to be used. And I could, if I was to on a KNX bus, these two lights would be turning on and off. And it is as simple as this. Just select whichever device you want to control and drag it into the visualization. Of course, we don't usually create visualizations like this where you have, two huge buttons on the screen. That's why if I go and I'm going to remove these, if I select my background, I can add a frame. So if I add a frame, now I can drag my devices into the frame and have a different visualization. So again, living room ceiling, select and drop it into the frame, press OK. We can see that the button has been added to my frame and now has this automation basically here for my visualization. So I can drag and drop all of these devices in. I can add another frame. This one could be for shades. Let's say position, let's say kitchen, and let's say hallway. I can, for any customizations, we all have all the customization options are here on the right side. So I can add a title for it. Let's one shades. This one could be, let's say, lights. And we can also add a menu for our scenes, drag our scenes in, and there you go. In a matter of, 20 seconds, we have a fully functional living room visualization ready to be used by our clients. So the client can now go, turn the lamp on, turn the shades down, turn these shades down, turn the lights off using the scene, and so on. So you can see how fast and easy it is to add our devices, add the logic, and then also create the visualization. So extremely easy to do. If I want to play around with the customization options, of course, now we can start doing that. So we can select my kitchen countertop button. And if I go here to style from automatic to manual, we can see a lot more options for the customization. And if I change the status display to manual, you can see even more options are here for the customization. So now if I want, I can spend as much time as I want here and just play around with my button. So kitchen, I can remove text, of course. Now I can show you how we can use our custom icon. So you would go here under images, you can see image. We can find the image that we imported earlier. Import this image. If I want, I can change the back color to, let's say green. We can change the text color to, let's say red. We can make the button more 3D. We can add more roundness to it. If someone has a vision impairment, we can also, of course, increase the font size. Let's change this to something else. It's a little red is too much. And as you can see, if I want, I can spend, as much time as I want customizing, tweaking, changing all of my buttons here in the visualization. But as you can see, just a couple of clicks, a couple of settings, we can completely change the way the visualization looks. We also allow some freedom to the clients, of course. Once you create a scene, maybe if the client doesn't want this countertop device to be in the scene, they can very easily, as you can see, click this wheel button. It will show you what devices are in the scene. You can click delete, and you can remove this countertop button from the scene. Click OK, and now the next time we run the scene, you can see the countertop button is not going to be turning on. So this is just one way for the clients to have more freedom to control, tweak specific devices and so on. And the same goes for the schedules and some other devices as well. One thing to note here is that the visualization is going to automatically scale according to your device. And this visualization is going to look exactly the same on Windows, Android, and iOS. So you don't have to create different visualizations for all the platforms. You can just create one visualization and it's going to work on basically any device. If this was my phone, the visualization would probably look something like this. Yeah, like this. So everything is still here. everything is still visible. I could use my phone to my finger to turn these devices on, swipe right to control the shades, use the bottom menu, to go to other rooms. I can use pinch to zoom in, zoom out, control these devices here. So everything is still there, just a different scale for your phone. So this would be the automatic way of creating the visualization, where everything that I drag and drop, everything is automatically placed. But we also have another option. So if I go to demo and I'm just going to add another panel, let's call this one floor plan. If I select my background and if I change here the positioning from automatic to free, this is now going to unlock the background for us. And now we can place these devices exactly where we want in the visualization, and they are not automatically scaled. So I can place this one here, living room LED, living room there, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. We can put some shades in, so kitchen, bedroom, right? You can place them, you can scale them, you can do anything basically that you want with them. And if you look at it like this, you're like, okay, why would I need this? But now if I add a background to it, so if I go to layouts and select a layout, let's just use the one that we have for demo as a background. You can now see that I can actually place these devices exactly where they are. So we could go kitchen shade, kitchen lamp, maybe this could be a kitchen, like a LED, maybe for the kitchen. Living room middle could be like a huge or like a lamp somewhere. Living room LED could be like a small LED somewhere here in the living room. Bedroom lamp, bedroom shade. So as you can see, you can start playing around with the visualization and customize it, tweak it, move it anywhere you want that is actually in the building. And the same principle for the customization applies here. If I change the style to manual, I can now again play around with the button. So change the coloring. We can change it to be like a circle button if we want. So it all depends on how the client wants it and how you can work with it. You can change the icons, change the images, everything that we did earlier, everything is the same here. So as you can see, we have living room buttons here, shades, LEDs, shades here, and the lights here. So the whole customization, everything applies here as well. This is just another way. This could be like a floor plan. And you can also, like I said, zoom in. If this is a big project, a bigger configuration, you can always zoom in, zoom out, and navigate to the building and control all of these devices. And yeah, this will basically conclude the introduction into BOS. Just to give you a very, very quick overview, we went through the configurator, so through all the nodes. I more or less explained you for the general where they are. We added some KNX devices. I showed you a little bit how other devices can be added in. We created some logical tasks, and then at the end we also created two completely different and unique visualizations for our project. I always stress this at the end. If you are at any point stuck or you want to know more information about specific device or protocol or task, you can always visit our website. If you go to support and if you go to knowledge base, every node that I mentioned here, right? Users, templates, files, images, KNX, all the devices, all of the tasks, they are all listed here with additional information. So if you're working with KNX and maybe you want to know more how the integration works, you select KNX. We can go working with KNX. All the information is listed here. How to connect, what are the connection types, how to scan for your local, let's say, KNX IP gateway, how to use KNX Secure, how to set up your group addresses, importing ETS. There's also videos here. So there is a ton of information available here for you to get started and to get to know a little bit more about how BOS works. BOS also, we also have an extended examples library. So these are the examples that were done either by us or by our clients. So if you have one of these devices, let's say if you have a Doorbird, there is videos, there is instructions on how you can download it, how you can work with it. So there is a ton of information available here. To quickly go through the products that we also provide for all of our users, we of course have the BOS servers. So as you can see, we have a variety of different servers. These are scaling depending on the project size. So if you have a small project, a complex project like an apartment or a small house, I would say the Jigsaw server is by far the most appropriate and best server to start with. It comes with BOS license, so you can work, of course, with BOS. It comes with a KNX gateway integrated, so you don't need to purchase any additional gateways. You would plug in your KNX connector and you're more or less ready to go. You add your configuration and you can work with it. If you are interested in any of the products, I would say visit our website. You can request a price here. You fill out your information and our sales team will reach you out. And I think that for today, we also have some discounts, I think, for all of you that joined for the introductional training. So, don't forget to contact our sales. So this is just going to be the Jigsaw server. Like I said, if you have a bigger project, you can go with the Jigsaw Pro. This one also has a Modbus gateway interface. For even bigger project, you can go with the Grinder. Also, better hardware, powerful hardware can handle more data. And then if you have a commercial project for, some hotels or hospitals or whatever, we would then also always recommend our Sledgehammer, which is basically for some heavy-duty large project. Besides the servers, we also offer wall panels. These are flush-mounted wall panels that can be integrated in any project. They are, of course, running the BOS client. Very stylish, different colors, different sizes. So you can always, of course, check the website and request a price here as well. But these are very, very useful. You can place them, as you can see here in the living room. The BOS client is running and you can have full control of the building. We also offer some accessories here for your third-party integrations as well. So yeah, I guess this is it from my side. If we have some questions, we can maybe do some questions now. So maybe Flavio or someone can also unmute and maybe speak out for if we have some questions here in the chat.
Dacă aveți întrebări, vă invităm să le lansați atât în chat, cât și pe web. Dai o întrebare. I think I have one question from my side. There is a possibility to change the hardware in one product, maybe near the
Lauren, your mic is really bad to hear. If you can type the question, maybe it will be easier for us.
I also have some issues understanding. And I'm not sure if that was a question or something. I can actually open it also here. I think for the chat. I think if there has some Q&A, there probably gonna be chat here. Oh, we also have some already. I think Flavio already answered some questions.
My question was, now you hear me? I'm closer to the microphone. You hear me?
A little, yeah. I hear you, but it's a little bit. I don't know. It's a little bit fuzzy, so a little bit hard to understand. Do you have a question for Modbus or Bucket integration? Is it mandatory to use a ComfortClick dongle? It is not mandatory. We would recommend it if you are using serial connection, but majority of the BACnet and Modbus integration, it goes via IP TCP. So in that case, there's no need for a dongle. But if you're a serial connection, you can use ours, or you can of course use if you have your own. It is of course not mandatory.
Hello, I'm Thomas Klein-Hempel from Cluj-Napoca. May I ask a question?
Yep.
Okay, I understand that Sledgehammer and Jigsaw are project Sledgehammer is for bigger project. In which consists the difference? How can I understand the Sledgehammer versus the Jigsaw?
Yeah, you can read the specs that are listed here. So these are, as you can see, it's a very small main board, just for the basics. So
what means basics in number of let's say data points?
Yeah. So we always get this question that we cannot exactly give you. Okay, Jigsaw is gonna work for. Yeah. Usually we have projects with, let's say, 1,000 group addresses on KNX. It's gonna work no problem. The problem comes if you have a project with 1,000 group addresses. Majority of the cases, people then get some Modbus, and maybe they have a camera and some on, and then the data kind of collects, and that makes the server harder to run. There's no a specific number that we can give you. We can always recommend you. So if you come to us, say, I have this project, I have this number of devices, cameras, and so on, we will then recommend you the project. The biggest toll on the hardware are usually the cameras. So if you have just KNX, even though if you have 1,000 group addresses, the Jigsaw should be completely fine. But if you add in some 10 speakers, 5 cameras, then it's a little bit more complicated. So we don't have like a precise number, but we will always try to help you out if you reach out, right? If you reach out, say, like I said, we have 10 cameras, 20,000 group addresses, Modbus, which is the server. I think that our sales and his support team will gladly build like a server that's gonna work best for you.
Okay. This is the second webinar of mine regarding ComfortClick.
Okay.
And it's very interesting. Thank you very much. Another question. There is, I understand that I have an application PC that I can download on the device, and I have a local web server that can be exposed on everything via static IP.
Correct, yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
So, do I have an option to import an IP address, a static IP address from, like, see, an air handling unit, a third-party air handling unit? And to expose on the web server in a separate window what this IP, the web server of another device, for example.
Yeah, so third-party integrations, like you said, so some air unit, they are supported if the device has an API. So if you go to do the configurator and if you add a HTTP driver, you can actually type in here the IP address of the unit if it has an API, and you can then send and receive commands for this device. But it is crucial for the device to have an open API, which means that we know which commands we are sending, and the device knows which commands to receive, right? In that case, you can, of course, you can use any third-party.
The situation is more simple. I open a new window on the Jigsaw web server, and it's opening the window from the other web server.
Yeah, you
For the
can.
third party is a web server. It's like a usual browser.
Yeah, there is an option if it has a web user interface, then there
Yes.
is an option. There is an option here to create a you can open a different. If you go here under general, you can open a web browser, and you can then basically type in the URL. This will probably work if you type in the IP address, and if it has a web UI, then
Yeah.
BOS should in theory display the like it will display like a web page here, like this. It will be exactly the
because,
same in the client.
if I have several units, probably it's more easy to me to use the web server
Yeah.
as a cumulative displaying device.
Yeah, if I think I'm not sure if all of the URLs here are supported, but if it's a local, and the thing that we need is a web UI. So the device needs to have kind of a web UI to display. In that case, I think you could just type in here the HTTP or the URL of the web server, and you should be able to display it here.
Yes, I do not use for the first instance. I do not use Jigsaw to collect the data or send commands. Only to display the window.
Yeah,
And I have commands and the entire server and then all the functions like in a browser window.
Yeah. It's
Thank you very
possible,
much.
Yeah, no problem. Let me just check if we have any other. Few years when is it possible to change the server with the new one using backup file? Yes. We can create a visualization like we did today. You can go here to the backup. You would save it as a BOS backup file. You would save it on your PC, and then down the line you can connect again, and you would just simply hit restore here, and you would restore the old backup. Yeah. Majority of the cases, the way the integration is done, usually our system integrators are going to create the visualization in the office on their PC. They would do all the logic, everything is done. You would then, like I showed you, you would back up it, and then you would restore it, let's say on the Jigsaw server that is on the client side. You would restore it there, and you can then do all the maintenance. There's no need for you to be constantly connected to the Jigsaw server to do the configuration. Everything can be done locally on your PC, and then just restore the backup on the new device. So the Linux and Jigsaw Pro, the Jigsaw and the Jigsaw Pro are Linux-based. Do you plan to improve a similar setup for a Linux-based system via containers for a file system images? Razavan, yeah, it's hard to say at this point. We are always trying to, take feedback from our clients to see if this is going to be possible. So yeah, in the future, currently we have the Linux bases are only for the 2 Jigsaws. The rest are then on Windows. So could perhaps, yeah, you can open. I think we usually discuss this. You can always open a suggestion ticket, or if you have any specific plan, and we'll happy to see what can be done. Yeah, especially if there's a potential big project in mind or any future development and any future communication. We're always open to new integrations and new potentially new integrations and devices. Yeah, I think we're gonna stick around for a couple of minutes or so if anyone else has any other questions. If not, if you were satisfied and don't have any other things to say, yeah, I think I would like to thank you all again for taking your time listening to the introduction. I hope that it was informative. I hope that you learned some new, or at least learned some basics, learned some tricks on how the configuration is done. And yeah, you're probably hopefully going to consider to use BOS and ComfortClick in your next project.
Oricum, în viitor, dacă aveți neclarități sau necesitate de suport tehnic, colegii de la ComfortClick vă stau la dispoziție fără probleme. Bun. Atunci, if someone has another question, it's good. If not,
Yeah, they can also always open a support ticket. Because I can show you, I think should be working. If you want to contact us or open a support ticket, you can always, you would log into your account, ComfortClick, you go to support tickets and create a ticket. Contact us. Even better would be to contact your current provider or current distributor. They would probably provide you some local support. But if you're just testing out, you can always create a ticket here, and we'll help you out.
atunci, dacă nu mai este nimeni interesat de un răspuns rapid, thank you all. Thank you, Flavio and David. Vă mulțumesc și vouă tuturor pentru interesul acordat. Here in Romania starting tomorrow holiday.
Okay. Perfect.
And yes, it's a 4-day holiday. 4-day off. It's good.
We only have the Monday, so good on you.
No, we have also tomorrow and Monday. And vă mulțumesc tuturor și vă urez sărbători fericite. Thank you. Thank you all, and
again, thank you from my side as well, and have a great extended weekend and great holidays, and contact us if you want to work with ComfortClick in the next project.
Okay. Bye.
Take care.
La revedere!